Hello again, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this Thursday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. First graphic here, take a look at the breakup map for the 28th of May, showing mostly open along the Noatak River and also mostly open on the upper Colville River, and all the way open down to Umiat there, and then south of there it's kind of in an unknown state all the way out to the coast. And there's some open water now, some open stretches of the Kaparik River and the Sagwan River all the way, the entire stretch of the way. So moving on to fire danger, high fire danger, high to very high for the Yukon River there in the Yukon Flats area. Also downstream, quite an area over the west central interior from Tanana on down toward Kaltag, and some extreme areas of fire danger southwest of Fairbanks, a couple of small areas there, and a larger one on the west side of the Alaska Range there in the Kuskokwim Valley. Also in the Susitna Valley, some extreme fire danger. Otherwise, high to very high fire danger, central Cook Inlet through the forelands there, Kenai, Soldotna, and the other side, mostly due to the gusty winds today, up to 30 miles an hour out of the north, reported at Kenai, with temperatures rising into the lower 70s. Also on the west side of Kodiak Island, a small area of high to very high fire danger. And over the Copper River Basin, a couple areas there of, again, high to very high fire danger, mostly due to the pickup in the northerly winds we saw today, especially through the passes of the Alaska Range this afternoon. On the hazardous weather graphic, we've got a fire weather watch out for the upper Yukon Valley down toward Tanana and into the Fairbanks area. And that's for tomorrow for extreme fire danger potential in that area. And there is a red flag warning out for extreme fire danger in the Susitna Valley, and that was out for today, and that'll be out until about 9 or 10 p.m. this evening. That's for winds gusting up to 25 miles an hour out of the north in areas there with temperatures lower to mid-70s, humidities down 20-25%, and then that'll improve by mid to late evening tonight and should end and will not reappear tomorrow. And for the next frame here, this is Chilkoot looking east, and there are showers moving westward along the Alaska Range in the Copper River Basin, getting into the upper Susitna Valley there with showers as far west by early afternoon today, as far west as Eureka, and you can see them here developing quite easily there off to the east of Chicxulub, all drifting west and southwest. And the next shot here, farther to the south, Seward started out sunny today. Temperature pushed up to 73 degrees with north winds gusting to 25 miles an hour. Clouds coming in from the northeast, as you can see, that kind of capped the temperature off at around, hovering around 70 into the early afternoon, bringing it down a little bit from the high with the increase in the cloud cover there. And the northerly winds also have dropped off, almost gone calm now. So any bit of a sea breeze, and it'll probably knock a good 10 degrees off the current temperature there. And for the breakup map, which we already saw, so let's go to satellite imagery. And you can see basically, a big pinwheel type low pressure area spinning southwest of the Queen Charlotte Islands. That did circulate some moisture up, clouds all the way into the northern panhandle, but some shower activity. Very light. Wrangell, Petersburg just picking up 1/100 of an inch today, but a little bit more to the south. Both Ketchikan and Annette, or Ketchikan, Annette, and Metlakatla picked about 1/10 of an inch of shower activity, which extended over towards Stewart. Otherwise, sunshine and northerly winds pushed temperature up to 71 in Cordova today, and as I mentioned, lower 70s in Seward. Also, warm spots, 74 or 5 in Wasilla this afternoon, with much Susitna Valley reaching into the lower to mid-70s, as well as areas of the Kenai Peninsula, Anchorage area. Sunshine, Bristol Bay, and mostly clear over the western part of the state, but you can see clouds up over the Fairbanks area onto the east, and variable clouds all the way out to the Arctic coast, and also over the northern Bering Sea. Farther to the west, you can see a weakening front really washed out, just brought a hundredth of an inch to the Pribilof Islands, and really not much at all down toward Unalaska, just clouds. The next system a little stronger. That brought 3/4 of an inch of rain and gustier winds into the AKwx area last night and in through the afternoon today. And that front will continue to slowly move eastward, but high pressure over the eastern Bering Sea holding and shifting most of the energy northward, but the entire pattern slowly shifting to the east. And rolling that through again, you get to see a band of thin cirrus from the eastern Arctic coast extending through the central interior down toward southwest Kodiak Island. On the surface chart today, you can see high pressure up over the eastern Arctic coast. That generally cloudy skies, but no fog reported this afternoon that I could see in any of the reports, with light winds and mostly cloudy skies. Some areas had some clearing. Isolated showers developing along the Brooks Range and more extensively, as I mentioned, over the upper Tanana Valley 40 Mile country, especially toward Northway, Tok, into Nebezna, and also coming into the Eureka area. Otherwise, south central Alaska, Kenai Peninsula, mostly sunny, clouds increasing gradually from east to west, turning at Arm, Portage, Whittier, and as we saw in Seward. And also Prince William Sound with the rain over the southern panhandle due to that big low off to the southwest. High pressure, eastern Bering Sea, western interior, holding that frontal boundary out to the west. We'll see tonight it slowly edges eastward. So rain will lighten up, winds will definitely lighten up, and rain for Adak, and take a little longer there for Atka. It'll get a little breezy for Nikolsky, but just stay dry for the Pribilofs, mostly cloudy skies, central Bering Sea, mostly clear eastern Bering, mostly clear tonight for the Alaska Peninsula, Bristol Bay, and variable clouds, a few debris clouds around south central Alaska, but showers persisting up over the Talkeetnas to the central eastern Alaska range, all the way up to the eastern Brooks Range, and another several troughs rotating around that low center southwest of the Queen Charlotte's there at a tangent to the low center. Continue a chance of rain and showers along the coast of the Panhandle. And we'll see for tomorrow, mostly cloudy, scattered showers to the southeast coast. That low beginning to weaken now off to the southwest. Mostly sunny, North Gulf Coast, Kenai Peninsula. Look for a general increase in the clouds for northern Cook Inlet in the afternoon, with temperatures still getting in the 60s to mid-70s, and thunderstorms possible along the Alaska Range, maybe the Talkeetnas into the northeast Copper River Basin. Otherwise, mostly sunny, dry day over the interior, 60s to upper 70s in some locations. And that front continuing to edge eastward, bringing a chance of rain to the Pribilofs and rain all the way east to Unalaska. And that first front washes out, another one develops, so wet, unsettled conditions for the Alaska Peninsula Pribilofs and all of the Aleutians for the day on Saturday, first day of the weekend. And then also along the northern edge of the moisture field there along the trough, pretty good chance of afternoon thunderstorms with showers or areas of rain, and cooler across southern Alaska. About 50-50 chance in the forecast for Anchorage for measurable precipitation, mostly cloudy showers for the southeast coast. A little breezy up along the north slope and even the Arctic coast, east-northeasterlies kicking up a little bit, maybe through the passes of the Brooks Range. Lows tonight, upper 20s to lower 30s, otherwise 40s to lower 50s, warmest in the upper Yukon Valley and around the Fairbanks area. Otherwise, mid to upper 40s, southern Alaska and the Panhandle, to near 40 for the Alaska Peninsula and the Bering Sea, near freezing for St. Lawrence Island. Highs tomorrow, lower to mid 70s there in the interior from the eastern border all the way down in toward the lower Kuskokwim and Yukon River Valley areas, 70 for king salmon. And mid-70s to Susitna Valley tomorrow, lower 70s northern Cook Inlet into the Kenai Peninsula, cooler in Prince William Sound and Valdez, and cooler for the Panhandle. Lows lower 50s central interior, upper 20s, lower 30s in the Arctic coast, 40s everywhere else. And that'll be followed by Saturday afternoon highs, once again in the 70s from the eastern interior north of the Alaska Range, but still not bad, mid-60s for the Susitna Valley.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
First line weather graphic Friday morning IFR, Central Eastern Arctic Coast, marginal VFR down to the central and eastern North Slope, right about to the crest of the Brooks Range, but from there south all the way to Kodiak, Alaska Peninsula, Gulf of Alaska, and the northern Panhandle, all starting out VFR. IFR, Northern Bering Sea through the central areas to AKwx with marginal VFR either side. And then for the day or for the afternoon tomorrow, IFR, Central Eastern Arctic Coast, VFR from the North Slope. Again, all of interior Alaska VFR into the northern Panhandle. Some marginal VFR there along the central and south coast, and a pretty good band of IFR just moving into Nikolsky and extending back to Amchitka Island, and of course covering AKwx and St. Matthew Island. Marginal VFR for St. Lawrence Island and the Pribilofs. For Saturday morning, again, IFR right along the coastline of the central and eastern Beaufort Sea coast with marginal VFR over a portion of the North Slope. Otherwise, not too bad. Good VFR again, most of interior Alaska. Looking at some marginal VFR now, Prince William Sound, North Gulf Coast, into the Coast Range and possibly up into the Wrangell Mountain areas. And the Panhandle, marginal VFR along the coast, VFR inside waters. And IFR over the central Bering Sea, extending from Unalaska Island westward to Kiska Island, but VFR for the Alaska Peninsula up through the Bering Strait. And for the afternoon, stays VFR, northern Bering Sea, St. Lawrence Island, most of the interior, north and west of the Alaska Range. Some marginal VFR over the Chukchi Sea, and possibly catching maybe Kivalina up to about Point Hope. IFR off the eastern Arctic coast, IFR eastern Aleutians westward to Kiska, and marginal VFR now, Kodiak Island, up across all of Cook Inlet, south central Alaska, Prince William Sound, the Copper River Basin, staying VFR for the Panhandle. Passes, Anatuvik and Adigan, another VFR day coming up for both of those passes, as well as the western Alaska Range, Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR, both approaches. And rainy VFR, both entrances tomorrow and possibly into Saturday. And for windy, good VFR once again on Friday. Isabel, same forecast, good VFR. Ceilings visibility is pretty good. Ventasta, good enough for VFR flying conditions through both entrances. And Tanita, same forecast, VFR. Portage, VFR. And Chilkoot and White, nothing but VFR. So moving on to freezing levels, about 8,000 feet over the Copper River Basin and the North Waitok area there, and 6,000 feet Kodiak Island up through the central eastern interior. And we've got cooler air mass, 2,000 feet out over the central Bering, Pribilof Islands down toward the False Pass and Unalaska area. And then back up to 8,000 feet, central Aleutians, and behind the front out there, falls back to 2,000 for the far western Aleutians. Icing there along that, in advance of that front, could be some considerable moderate creeping into Unmak Island, otherwise light to isolated moderate rime. Freezing level to 10,000 feet, pushing into the eastern Aleutians and improving over the Adak area, and not quite making it to the Pribilofs, and then some scattered areas of mixed icing in the convection from the Talkeetnas to the eastern Alaska Range and northern Panhandle. Jet stream, upper level high over the eastern interior again, so we got one band of the flow going northward out over the western Bering, and then over the top, just grazing the Arctic coast, those westerlies, and then some 90-knot southwesterlies in toward the Queen Charlotte's and Dixon entrance, mostly south of the Panhandle. And taking a look at 9,000 feet, head of that Bering Sea system, we've got 40 to 45 knot south to southeast winds cutting up from the eastern Aleutians to just west of St. Matthew Island into the Russian Far East. And then some easterlies up to 35 knots along the Alaska Range, and 40 to 45 knot winds showing up along and off the Panhandle. 3,000 feet, same pattern. Winds, though, pretty good in advance of that Bering Sea and Aleutian front, 40 to 50 knots out of the south-southeast. High pressure over Norton Sound, another high over the Arctic coast. And on the east side of that, we've got some light north to northeast winds, maybe 10 to 20 at most, light and variable over southern Alaska. 35.
Hello, spring. This week, the moon is going to slide through the triangle of bright stars, Spica, Regulus, and Arcturus, the spring triangle, and it is gigantic. To find it, face west after midnight any night this week. Start with Arcturus, that's easy to find. Just follow the arc of the Big Dipper to Arcturus, then follow a straight line to Little Spica. From there, look to the west. If you try and close the triangle using Archie and Spica, you should see Regulus in Leo the Lion. Now that you know where the spring triangle is in the sky, look for it each night this week because the moon, which is waxing to first quarter, is going to fly right past Regulus and into the middle of this asterism. I know it'll put a smile on your face when you see it. I'm Trace Dominguez reminding you to keep looking up.
Have you ever been to the beach and noticed litter like plastic bottles or foam takeout containers on the sand? Or maybe you've been to a river or bay where there's a bag or a car tire stuck in the mud on the shore, or a bunch of deflated balloons that say happy birthday floating in the water? All of that junk in the water or on the shoreline is considered marine debris. It's anything solid and man-made in the ocean or Great Lakes that is not supposed to be there. And anything people use every day can become marine debris if they don't dispose of it properly. And I mean anything. The most common items we find when we do shoreline cleanups are plastics. But we also find rubber, cloth, glass, metal, and paper litter. Sometimes the debris is so tiny, like a plastic microbead from your face wash, that you can barely see it in the water. Marine debris is more than just trash in the ocean. Sometimes fishers lose their gear like fishing traps, nets, or fishing line, and it continues to drift through the water, catching animals for a long time. We call that derelict fishing gear, and it's marine debris. Have you ever seen an old boat left behind on a shoreline? Abandoned and derelict vessels are also marine debris. So let's review. Anything we use every day can become marine debris if we don't dispose of it properly or if it goes into the water by accident. Marine debris can be very small or can be very big, and anything in between. But most importantly, marine debris is one of the biggest pollution problems facing the world's oceans and waterways today.
How does marine debris impact the ocean, animals, and me? Would you want to swim in a beach littered with trash? Of course not. And the animals who live in the ocean don't either. The difference is, they don't have a choice. Marine species often get tangled in debris, from fishing nets to six-pack rings. If they get caught, they could get injured or even die. And even if they don't get entangled, many animals mistake plastic debris for food and eat it. This fills their stomach with junk they can't digest. Debris can also damage important habitats, like coral reefs, by breaking or smothering them. Corals serve as the base of the marine ecosystem, and impacts here can be felt all the way to you and me. Plus, plastics have harmful chemicals in them. Fish eat plastic, we eat fish. The question is, can those chemicals harm us? Marine debris also hurts the economy. It costs a lot of money to clean up, and people don't want to go to dirty beaches. Boats and ships could run into large pieces of debris too, or get their propellers tangled. We need the ocean and everything in it, and the ocean needs us to keep it free of debris. What can we do about marine debris?
A lot of the trash that's in our ocean is plastic.
And that marine debris is hurting our environment, economy, and health.
the problem will only get worse.
unless we change the way we consume and dispose of products. There are solutions,
And together, we can prevent litter from ending up in the ocean. Some people might say,
well, I'm just one person, so I can't make a difference.
but that's just not true.
If each person who creates trash, and that's just about everyone, took action, it would add up to a whole lot of change.
So what can we do?
Well, the ultimate solution is prevention. And we need to keep that as our highest priority.
We can reduce, reuse, and recycle to keep debris out of the ocean in the first place.
You can bring your own shopping bag, drink out of a reusable bottle, and participate in things like a shoreline cleanup.
Join a group cleaning up the beach or grab some friends and clean up your street. It's easy.
Be more conscious of how many disposable plastic items you're using. And if you do,
Where are you putting it? In the trash can? Whoops. Or in the recycling bin?
so here's the challenge. The next time you finish using a throwaway item, a bag, a bottle, or utensil, answer the question, where is this going? Because ultimately, when you throw stuff away, there really is no away. It has to go somewhere.
So keep asking yourself this important question.
How will you keep your trash from becoming marine debris?
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. We'll start the marine segment off with the turbulence chart here since it got dropped from the aviation segment. So eastern Aleutians with that front pushing eastward, look for considerable moderate chop below about 5,000 feet, and possibly a little turbulence, light to isolated moderate for small aircraft along the southern southeast coast. Now for coastal water forecast, southeast winds 25 knots. Small craft advisories all along the outer coastline of the Panhandle. Lightest in the northeast 15 there, but 25 knot winds. Turn southeast 25 in the central and south coast. Southeast 20 for Clarence Strait. 15 knot winds from the southeast for Stevens Passage. North 15 for Lynn Canal. Those will swing around to light southerlies for Lynn Canal on Saturday at 10 knots. Same forecast for Stevens Passage. Southeast 10, seas 2 feet for Clarence Strait. South coast, south 10 to 15 knots, seas 7 feet. South to southeast 10 to 15 knots on the north coast with 6 to 7 foot seas also. Prince William Sound, east winds 15 knots, 3 foot seas. And for Cook Inlet, north to northeast 15 knots, 3 foot seas. East-northeast 15 knots for the North Gulf Coast and seas under 8 feet with easterlies at 20 for the Barren Islands. Those become southeast at 20 for Kamishak Bay. Outlook for Saturday, Kamishak Bay southeast at 15, seas 4 feet. Northeast 15 knots for the western North Gulf Coast and Barren Islands. Eastern North Gulf Coast north at 15 and variable to northwest at 10 with slight seas for Prince William Sound. Cook Inlet southerlies 10 to 15 knots with 3 to 4 foot seas. Kodiak Island, northwest, 15 knots, seas 3 to 7 feet, and the Alaska Peninsula on the Bering Sea side, north 15, Pacific side, west 15, all the way up to Sitkinak. Bristol Bay, northwest at 20, but seas only at 2 feet. Saturday for Bristol Bay, light southwest breeze at 10 knots with slight seas, same thing for Chillicothe Strait, and from Sitkinak to Castle Cape. But the east side of Kodiak there, kind of under the influence of that low pressure area off to the east and southeast, looking at northeast winds at about 15 knots. Otherwise, small craft advisories for the Alaska Peninsula, east-southeast 25 to 30 knot winds with seas on the Pacific side of the peninsula up to 12 feet. Fox Islands tomorrow, southeast 30 knots, seas 7 to 17 feet. And 30 knot southeast winds also in store for the central Aleutians, but behind the front, much lighter, more variable winds becoming north at 15 from Kiska westward to the Komodorskis. And those will become northwest at 20 on Saturday. And Amchitka toward Adak, north at 20, but the central Aleutians under small craft advisories with easterlies 25 knots. And Unmak Island, east 25 on Alaska Island, east 30 knots, seas running 8 to 13 feet. Southwest coast, Along the Yukon Delta coast, northeast 15. Kuskokwim Delta coast, northwest 15. Small craft advisories for the Pribilof Islands. Southeast increasing to 25 knots, seas building to 8 feet, and southeast winds 20 knots, St. Matthew Island and St. Lawrence Island. Outlook for Saturday, northeast wind, St. Lawrence Island, Norton Sound, right on down and along the Yukon Delta coast to Nunivak Island, but south of Nunivak Island, light southerlies at 10. Pribilof, St. Matthew Island, east 25 knots, 9 to 11 foot seas. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast tomorrow, light breeze east-northeast at 10. Central coast southeast at 15. Turns east at 15 on the west side. And around the western capes, there are southerlies at about 20 knots. And for Saturday, from Cape Thompson to Wales, north 15. Otherwise, east 20 knot winds on the western Arctic coast. Central coast, call it east at 15, and then back up to 20 knots out of the east. Maybe some higher gusts toward demarcation point. And for tonight, again, light winds up there with high pressure sitting along the coastline. So low clouds, fog possible, could form anywhere along the coast and maybe to a lesser extent over the north slope. Otherwise, kind of cloudy, mostly cloudy with some scattered showers. Eastern interior, chance of rain in the Panhandle. Rain pushes eastward to the eastern Aleutians on Friday with an increase in the winds. High pressure over the northern Bering Sea keeps it dry and mostly sunny in that area with offshore flow sunshine. Temperatures 60s to 70s over the interior. Isolated thunderstorms developing along the Alaska range. Increasing clouds south central Alaska. Showers in the Panhandle both Friday and Saturday. Chance of thunderstorms along that trough axis in the interior.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.